Hello everyone, welcome to our latest session of Meet the Faculty. We're broadcasting live today from Vancouver Island University's Nanaimo campus on Vancouver Island, Canada. My name's Leanne Stasnik, I'm the Manager of International Marketing and Recruitment, and I have a faculty member joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Leanne. Hi, I'm Joanne Schroeder, and I'm a faculty member in the Department of Recreation and Tourism, but I also am the Graduate Chair for the Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management.
So the way the session is going to run today will be, we'll have a short presentation, about 15 minutes. Please do enter your questions into the comments area below here, and we'll get to all of your questions after. We will have an admissions officer from International and also a current student in the program joining us in a little bit, so you can ask them questions as well. So we'll get going with the presentation now.
Great, thank you very much. So, as you can see on your slide, our Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management. So where exactly is Vancouver Island? And if you were going to come here and do the Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management, the environment and the outdoors and the location of Vancouver Island, specifically Nanaimo, is fabulous for the program that you're going to actually be studying in this degree. So, positioning yourself, you can see that we are just across the waters from Vancouver. We're about a 20-minute flight from Vancouver if you were taking airplane. If you were taking ferry, it's approximately about an hour and a half to 2 hours coming across on a ferry. And if it's a float plane, you're here also in about 20 minutes. We have a number of float planes that travel over, so you'd have some options. And we are just north of Seattle, so it really positions you in this hub on Vancouver Island in order to study in this area. So, what are the things to see and do in and around Vancouver Island? Well, you can see that we have got indicated on this slide, you can surf, and actually it's been said that you can surf, you can golf, you can ski and snowboard all in one day. And it is true because our climate is mild. We're the mildest climate here in Canada, and it allows for a climate that really we can capture that outdoors 12 months of the year.
And we have those warmer weather activities as well, like swimming and stand-up paddle boarding, kayaking, canoeing. It's all it's a beautiful location for all of that as well, and so much local wildlife.
Absolutely, and I just want to touch on that in the slides. You can see whales and whale watching, our natural environment when we come to look at wildlife observing, bears, wildlife, eagles. That is a very big part of our tourism product here on Vancouver Island, but as a student, it's something we hope you will also enjoy here on the island. So, what is the university all about, and what are the programs that you can actually take? Well, you can see a variety of areas, and I'm going to hone in right on tourism, recreation, and hospitality. So that is where this specific degree is positioned. It falls under the Faculty of Management. So it falls under that faculty, and then within that faculty, we are the Department of Recreation and Tourism. And the graduate program comes under what is called the World Leisure Center of Excellence. It's connected to the World Leisure Organization, and as a center of excellence, there are 5 of them in the world, and we are one of them here at Vancouver Island. So the degree of the Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management falls under this umbrella of an international organization called the World Leisure Organization.
Quite prestigious to have that accreditation.
It is, and the other thing is that the other centers of excellence allow us to really do some international networking. So it's an exciting opportunity for students to not just connect here at Vancouver Island, but we have visiting scholars that come and join us from those other centers of excellence and become a part of the actual curriculum. Okay, so why would you actually choose Vancouver Island? Well, besides the location on the island, our nature, and our outdoors, I think there's some other reasons that you can see on this slide. So we're about just over 14,000 students. Of those, approximately just a little over 1,400 are graduate students. So our graduate population is really growing. We have 93 countries that we see coming and studying here at VIU. And one thing to highlight is our class size. Approximately 34 is our typical class size for undergraduate. Within this graduate program, about 20 to 24 is our maximum size.
And with 93 countries represented on campus, there are so many activities that involve people with different viewpoints from around the world. There's a lot of learning to be done then, and it also brings interesting conversations into the classroom.
Absolutely, and specifically for the Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management, your discipline can come from any discipline, and we really are looking for that to create this discussion in the classroom that comes from different disciplines. Because when we talk about sustainability, we really need to be coming at it from a number of different discipline angles. Okay, so specifically this degree, I guess one of the questions would be, are you ready to explore and develop solutions that ensure travelers and residents alike are able to enjoy recreational and leisure pursuits with sustainability as a focus? So when we look at sustainability and we look at it with leisure context, we're looking at an economic, a social, and environmental lens. And we're not just interested in, a conversation of a traveler that's maybe going to travel the globe and internationally, but also a resident. How do you experience leisure within that realm of social, economic, and environmental? So as you can see, our group of students are diverse, and they come from cultural diversity locations in the globe, which adds that diverse environment and conversation within the classroom. Okay, moving on to kind of career opportunities. You'll see that according to our BC labor market outlook from 2019 until 2024, so we're right within that lens now, there'll be over 90,000 job openings within enterprising occupations. And that includes the opportunities within this career. We see students move into areas of when we look at leisure, that includes festivals, events, sports, culture. So it's broad, and we see students move into those areas. Okay. So what exactly does the program look like? What's the overview? It's a 2-year program, 2-year degree. Our class sizes, as I said, are anywhere between 18 and 24. And we really like that size, and as do the students, because it allows for this seminar style of learning. It is a non-traditional approach to studies in ecotourism and innovative leisure practices, combining field experience and classroom instruction. So it's important to note that the way that this program is delivered is it's actually set up modulars. And it allows for an intense experience of one course at a time, and then you move on through your courses at that time. That researchability and innovation and knowledge mobilization are embedded within the curriculum. Okay, moving on. So what does it mean when we talk about field schools and field experience? One of the things that the courses includes is international, or it can, if you choose to travel international, many of you are coming here to Canada as an international student, but that field experience, we also are involved in study tours, case study analysis of local tourism and leisure businesses, and innovative learning labs. So you are not just going to be in a classroom sitting for the length of a course. You are going to be mobilizing outside and into the field. And that's a really important part, because the student gets to see local issues that can also be interpreted as global issues at times. And they see the business owners, the current issues that they're dealing with, and how does innovation and sustainability play together? How are they dealing with these things? So it really becomes this dynamic learning lab type of experience.
So Joanne, do you have an example of one of these experiential learning opportunities that you've had recently in the program?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 things that I would highlight. Field schools is something that you can participate in, and it actually completes the equivalent required for one of the courses. So you may travel abroad. We actually had a group of students go off to Brazil 2 years ago, and that was a part of their field experience training. And also the learning labs, heading over to Vancouver. There's a number of organizations that meet with us and meet with the students, and they're there on site overnight in that region, meeting with business owners and working with them collectively. So it's not we go, they tell us what's going on, but the students get to actually really work with those owners and help them to think of innovative ways of challenging some of the issues that they deal, hopefully moving towards solutions.
So it's very practical for what their future career may bring.
Absolutely. All right. So just to dig down a little bit deeper into those field schools and field experiences, this is some of the content that you'll be covering within those courses. So you're looking at leisure and sustainability, principles and paradigms, case studies. Case study is a research methodology. So we actually use case studies in the field, and that's right here on Vancouver Island, identifying organizations and looking at them as a case study, and influencing change towards sustainability, and then research and mobilization. All right. So what does it mean to move into the next stage, which is, well, I think I actually might want to apply for this program. Some of your questions might be, what are the requirements to come in? So an undergraduate degree from an appropriately accredited university. Again, I'll emphasize that discipline is, we're looking for a multidisciplinary approach to the topic of sustainability. So your discipline can be coming from something outside of what would typically be seen as the realm of leisure. So it doesn't have to be a leisure, a tourism, a recreation, a hospitality, a hotel management discipline. It can come outside of that, because we also need your economic lens, your finance lens, your perhaps a cultural or geography, a whole discipline to look at this area. And we're also looking for a minimum average of B calculated within the last 2 years of your undergraduate degree, and then English. Mm-hmm. English is an important piece to being successful as a student with this level of master's education.
Right, so we have an English language center right here on campus. Our requirement for English for international students is an IELTS 7.0, no band below 6. Don't worry, we accept lots of other tests as well, and the list is available on our website. If you don't quite reach that level of 7.0 yet, you can still apply to the program and receive a conditional acceptance if you're qualified for the program. In that case, you would come a little bit early and study in our language center, which is actually a really good idea anyways, because our English language program is tailored to students who will be studying in the program later. So you're not only learning additional skills in English, you're also learning how to write a paper, how to write references, how to study in the Canadian system, essentially.
I think it also really sets you up, because you just get that little bit of a head start being here. So a cultural context, what does it mean to live in Nanaimo? How do you find your way around? What's it like to be in seminar learning? What's it like to, be asked your opinion? And we're looking for that contribution to the learning environment. So don't worry if it's that conditional accept and you need to move into a period of graduate preparation. I think it really sets you up for success in a way to contribute at a graduate level of discussion, dialogue, study, and research.
And you can also get accustomed to living here before you join the academic program itself. So it's a good opportunity to get settled, find your housing, and make some friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we move into the additional comments or questions that you may have around that admission, you can see there's a tuition calculator there, and we are really looking for these applications this month, March 31st. I'm looking forward to reviewing applications, and we really encourage that early application. The program starts September 8th.
I'll just mention about that cost calculator as well. That not only gives you the program costs, it also gives you an idea of what the cost of living here is in Nanaimo, so what you would need for various choices for housing, various choices for transportation. Will you be on the bus? Will you be close enough to walk? Or will you have a car when you live here? So it really breaks down what it'll cost so that you're well prepared financially when you arrive.
Right, and that's a contributor to success in your education as well. Not just considering that tuition cost, but as we've said, the whole parameters of what it looks like to be a student here at VIU. And that early application, what really does that mean? That soft launch of March 31st?
It means that if we have seats available afterwards, we may still offer seats in the program, but the application will close at any time after that, as soon as the program is full. So if you want to set yourself up for the best possible chance of getting in, we encourage you to apply before that date.
Right, and when we say September 8th is when it starts, what we do within the MASLM, which is our fondly shortened version of our Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure Management. So the MASLM, we actually start with an orientation, and that orientation starting September 8th is really just the first week to let us get to know one another, learn about what does it mean to learn interculturally and the diverse classroom that we're going to be in, and set us up. And then that following week is when we actually really start to deep dive into curriculum.
One thing that we hear from about students' applications is that there's that letter of intent, and it's such a key part of their application.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what you're looking for?
Yeah, I definitely. So again, when we say that your discipline doesn't have to come from leisure, I'm going to assume that you're not understanding leisure theories and leisure context because you haven't had that training so far. But what I'm looking for is your letter of intent, that you can tell me what is your intention in pursuit of sustainable leisure studies. So I'm looking that you've done some homework, you understand what sustainability is and what the concepts around sustainability are. You've done some looking. What is leisure? How is it defined in the world? And you could certainly go to the World Leisure Organization, see what they're talking about. What are the issues that are being dialogued about at that high level? And then you're able to put those two together and see and tell us within that letter of intention, why is this study interesting to you, and how do you see it moving forward as a trajectory in your career or in your intentions moving forward? So I'm really looking that you can make that connection to what are these topics, how does it connect to you, and how does it make a connection for you in your career trajectory. So it's not just, yeah, you understand leisure and here's why you think it would be a neat idea to study, but really what's your intention behind that. So spend some time really being intentional with that intention letter. Yeah.
It's a good way for us to get to know you before you arrive on campus and find out more about who you are and why you would like to be here.
Absolutely. So why VIU? Just to sort of recap some of these things that we've already mentioned, but small classrooms, that's what's unique here about Vancouver Island University. Designated faculty that come within our Department of Recreation and Tourism come from all realms of the field of leisure. And also we have these international scholars that come and join us in the classroom. You've got lots of supports here on campus, and English is certainly one of those, but there are many. Just to reiterate again, that mild climate, it allows you to be recreationally engaged 12 months of the year. Yes, you might need an umbrella. Yes, you might need a good rain jacket, but you can still get out there and enjoy the amazing things on the island. And we have an engaged community. So I would say that our connection to community as a university is strong. We rely on them within our education to look to business owners, entrepreneurs, specifically within that realm of leisure, and bring a real life context into the classroom.
I'd like to also talk about what it means that we have a designated faculty of international education here at VIU. That means that we have a building here full of people who are here to support international students. We have 65 staff members here just to support international students, and so that means when you before you arrive on campus, you have support with filling in your application form. We have an admissions team. Once people arrive here, We have international specific advisors. We have immigration advising, counseling services, financial support. We have a team for study abroad in case you'd like to get that global learning as part of your program. Just so many supports here. And it's kind of your home away from home as an international student. We have lots of cultural and fun activities too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say those international students tell me that those are the support systems that really help them be successful here at VIU, but also I really look to those. So as a graduate chair, my context is your curriculum and the context within your degree, but learning has many facets to it, and I really rely on those here at VIU to steer them to my colleagues that have those expertise, and there's a lot. Okay. Finally, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share these slides with you, and I think we'll pass it over as we move forward.
So we are going to move into a question and answer period here, so please enter your questions in. We understand that a lot of you are not here on campus right now, and you may be dialing in from a country where it's a different time zone and it's in the middle of the night right now. So we've actually received some questions from students in advance, and some of our staff here will put those in and we'll get those answered as well. So we have a couple of additional team members and folks joining us now. Would you like to introduce yourselves, Karen?
Yeah, hi, I'm Karen Blackman, and I'm the admissions officer with international education for the MASLM program.
Hi, my name's Liz Whitaker. I'm a first year student on the MASLM program.
Great. So we have some questions that have come in already. The first question is, how many seats are available for international students in the program?
Yeah, it's a great question. We want to really look for that balance that we create in the classroom so that you've got that international context and that domestic context as well. Of course, that changes each year, but the seats saved is about 10 to 12 for international, and we are not full at that point yet.
One thing that I'll mention too for international students is that because this is a 2-year program, you're eligible to apply for the 3-year postgrad work permit. And so that's an opportunity to work here in Canada following graduation. Karen, what are some of the things that students can do to ensure that the application process goes smoothly for them?
Well, what we like is when students, before you actually apply, to try and make sure you have all your documentation ahead of time so that when you go into our application portal, you can upload all of the documents that we need right away, and that saves us a lot of time, because otherwise we're back and forth with you trying to get the documents all together, and we won't assess the actual application until all the documents are on file. And also make sure if you do require an IELTS or a TOEFL, depending on which one you want to do, that you've done that ahead of time as well. Otherwise, we'll be offering you ESL as a condition of acceptance, regardless of what your English level might be, until we receive verification of what your actual English level is. And the other thing I would also suggest is to apply well in advance. Joanne is happy to look at applications before that March 31st deadline. So we do what we call a rolling admission, and we can admit you within a matter of days or weeks of applying. If you apply now, if you applied back in January, those people have probably already heard back from us and received their letters of acceptance. So yeah,
and that gives you lots of time to apply for your study permit.
Exactly.
What about translated documents?
Yes, we need all of our documents if they are not in English, including ones in French. Although French is an official language of Canada, we are an English-speaking university, so we need all of the transcripts, your letters of reference, everything, your degree even should be translated into English.
Okay.
And our next question that was also sent ahead, what does modular courses mean?
Yeah. Well, you can probably speak to that one.
Okay, so we get taught in 4-week blocks. So you will only study one module at a time, so one course at a time, and it enables you to really take a deep dive into a topic matter. So you just really concentrate and focus on that, and that's what you immerse yourself in. And between each 4-week block, you have a week which is like a reading week. So you can kind of readjust and get ready and prep for the next one, which is great to take a big deep breath. But I've not been taught like that before, but I've enjoyed it. And it really allows you just to kind of focus on one topic, so you do feel like you can really get into the guts of it and have those discussions and those debates in class. So yeah, it's a different model, but I think it's really good.
I think the other side to that is students would say it's intense, and I think that we want to be honest about that. It is an intense deep dive. You're 4 weeks. You are about 10 hours a week of class contact. And then the rest of that is, all the work that goes with those 10 hours of deliverables. So within 4 weeks, you're delivering off on a full course, but it allows you just to do that focus, as Liz has said, but it's intense. It's an intense experience.
It's good intense, though.
I would say, too. And that's the feedback that I've received from students that I would just like to pass on to you. It is a different style of learning a number of courses at the same time. It's intense, deep, challenging, but it allows that depth of discussion.
And I feel again like it reflects what the job situation would be like during your career, because we're often doing things like preparing for an event, and so there's a lot of concentrated work that goes into it with a group, perhaps.
I would agree. I think it sort of mimics where we're trying to prepare students to head into.
I have a question. Among other requirements, I see a score of 3 on an assessment form. Could you elaborate on that for us?
And we generally translate any GPA score into a letter score. So the 3.0 GPA is the equivalent of a B.
Right. So let's actually just clarify that, or go a little bit further in that. In order to move from your coursework into your thesis work, you must maintain a 3.0. So that might be another part of the question perhaps you're trying to seek information for.
Can I just add to that as well? Being a UK student, we don't work on GPAs,
or letter grades necessarily.
So I think it's quite a unique grading system in the UK. So when I was applying, we work on classes. So, but you guys were great in helping me try and decipher it and do the translation between working out whether what I had achieved in my undergraduate transferred across. So, because it is completely different, but you do go and help us try. You did help me do that.
Yeah, we translated ourselves into our own language so that we know what you have.
So you're a translator as well.
Really, a translator of grades. Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
We get questions from students asking whether they can work part-time in Canada. So on a study permit in Canada, students can work off campus up to 20 hours a week and then full-time during scheduled semester breaks. However, words to the wise are to come here and settle in before you are relying on that money, because a lot of students find a very demanding program like this. You really want to have your financing set up ahead of time and not be relying on extra income while you're here, so that you can excel in your academics.
Right. So if I can just speak to that, I get students asking me this question all the time: can I work and can I study at the same time? So clearly that's been answered from a legal perspective as to what you're allowed to work, the amount of hours. But can you succeed working at graduate level studies? It is at that step up, that higher level from your undergraduate. You're to complete successfully that graduate studies, and your focus really needs to be at that graduate level. Students struggle if they try to balance too much of work and school, and they think, well, I only have 10 hours a week of classes, how difficult can that be? I should be able to take on, this extra work. But the amount at a graduate level of not only, reading and the work that's connected to that, but it's also the time to make the connections between your new knowledge that you're gaining, how that connects to the knowledge you have in lived and educational pursuits up to that point, and having it connect so that you can dig in at a deeper level. What do you think, Liz?
Yeah, I've chosen not to work whilst I've been studying for many of the reasons that you've said, and also because you may just have 10 hours of contact time in class, but there's a lot of reading to do outside of that. So you've got more than that outside in the library if you want to do well and
Yes.
succeed, which is what you want to do, because that helps with any visa application you're going to do later as well. So, and it adds to your experience, but I understand that not everyone can financially do that. But if you're in a position to get yourself where you can afford, because it's only probably about 6 to 8 months really, where you just need to dedicate yourself to this, and then after that you can work. But everyone has different financial situations.
Yeah, and let me just clarify that. So once you move into your thesis stage, there's no more coursework. So the bulk of your coursework is in that first year, and then you move into your research stage, which is thesis. And then actually that period of time allows you a little better balance to work, and it's actually can really complement your research time, because you have about an 8-month period there to complete your deep research and your thesis. And sometimes, getting your brain off of it and having a bit of work can be a good balance at that stage. Yeah.
And it does still meet the requirements for your study permit.
That's right.
We have a question from Anne Catherine. When will you hear about whether or not you've been accepted?
So that's that rolling admission again. So if you apply right away, we can hopefully get back to you within potentially a couple of days up to a couple of weeks, depending on the demands of the chair at the time. But we definitely don't have to wait till that March 31st due date to apply, and you can hear from us well before that March 31st due date as well.
Yeah. I think, I'm aware that I'm the one that's reviewing them with a committee, so I'm aware that you're looking for that answer as quickly as possible. And when you apply to us and show that intention at VIU, we really want to get you that answer as quickly as possible. So Karen and I work closely together, that when they come across my desk, as soon as I'm able to, go through them in detail and then pass them back, and then the communication goes forward from there. So we're working to get that answer back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, I had a really positive experience because you came back to me pretty quickly, but also because you knew how long it was going to take for me to do my visa application. So you were really aware of that, which really helped me.
Yeah, we have access to websites that tell us how long visa applications are taking in different countries. So we always take that into consideration, and there's always global events going on that can affect how easy it is for you to get your application or your visa back from immigration, or that may affect your flights, your ability to get here in time. So we always take that into consideration when we're trying to get our offers out. And also, just to clarify, the way the process works is we send you a letter of offer if Joanne has decided that you're accepted into the program. You would get a letter of offer, and then we would need the tuition deposit before we can give you an acceptance letter, which is what is required for you to apply for your visa.
Okay.
Is there any career support on campus?
So yes, particularly within our program. So again, we'll position that within the Faculty of Management and Recreation and Tourism. We actually have someone right on our team that that can really address this. And the students have full access to that expertise to say, what does it look like to move out into this career? What skills might I need, or what support might I need? But beyond that, there actually is strength and support through us as a faculty. I would say that that's probably a number one place that graduate students are coming to us and saying, hey, I know that your background is here. What's the social capital maybe on Vancouver Island, or even international? I'm positioned here at Vancouver Island, but I have a very international connections as well, just due to different roles that I've played. And so if a student is very interested in something, I'm able to not only rely on a social capital locally, but internationally. So I think there's lots of support, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you're an international student, you come to a new place, you don't have much social capital. But one of the things that I've really learned is that our the teaching staff and the professors, they do, and they're all more than willing to share that with you. So I think that that's been a really great help, and also because of the research that the team are doing, and you'll ask us to be engaged in that as well. There's lots of opportunity for us to kind of create those networks, which is really important, because when you come somewhere and you don't know anyone, you're really going to rely on that.
And we have another question from Anne Catherine. Are there opportunities to apply for scholarships through VIU?
Yeah.
Are there program specific?
So I'll speak specifically to program, and then we can speak at a bigger level at VIU. Within program, we have a support within scholarship at a small level that moves you into conferences, supports you to go off into a conference, perhaps into a field experience, and we push those out through the graduate students once they arrive. There's nothing that comes that's accessible to you prior to arriving. It's once you're here and you're a student. So that is within the Masters of Arts in Sustainable Leisure. And then Access Beyond, I think you probably can speak to that a little more than me from VIU's lens.
Yeah, we do have some partial scholarships that are available, and generally they are assessed based on academic performance.
But they are generally for undergraduate programs. I'm not aware of any master's program scholarships.
And then we have resources available on our website for students to look for funding from the Government of Canada, and also I encourage students to check in their own countries because sometimes there are funds available there as well. A related question is, can you get a student loan when you arrive? And the answer is no, it's not accessible for international students once you arrive, but it is possible to look at getting student loans in your home country before you come and then applying it to your studies here. It's up to each student to secure their own funding though. Okay, that comes to the end of our questions. Again, we recognize that many of you will be watching this after the fact, so we do monitor these live streams for a time after they're posted. So if you have questions, pop them into the question box here and we'll get to them. Also, you can email us at worldviu@viu.ca with any additional questions, and we'll get some answers out to you. So I'd like to thank Joanne, Liz, and Karen for joining me here today. I also want to thank the folks who are helping us out behind the scenes. So we have our interns, Joni, Snigdha, and Henry, and also our digital marketing specialist, Ami. So thank you all. It's a great team here. And thank you for watching. We hope to see you here on campus at VIU.
Great. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.